So, Tabitha, how did this book come to be?
So it's actually a really interesting conversation on that part and how it happened. I got a call from the head of a ministry that I partner with, and she said, Tabitha, we need to talk about sex with the survivors. And I thought that sounds like fun. And so I said yes, ultimately. But more than any other thing I've ever done, anything I've ever taught, this wrote me first because I also am a survivor. And I remember feeling and holding the weight of this
Mhm.
topic as I was talking in that session with these women. And also, we gave them the opportunity to ask questions and to write them down because we know it's hard to say things out loud sometimes. And I ended the day with this pile of questions and going, oh my gosh, like we need so much more than just a teaching at a retreat. We need an entire book. And I was already talking with a publisher and I reached out to them and said, I think we need to write about sex. And they said, okay. And they were down for it. And that is how we got the book. And it has been quite the journey of not only including parts of my own story of healing, but also stories from clients and women over the years that I've worked with and then seeing it out in the wild and how it's impacting people now.
What are
Mhm.
you seeing from it, from the impact?
It has given people words they didn't have. And that has been such a gift to hear, where I've had women come up to me and say, I didn't know how to say this. And you gave me the words, or you told my story, or I didn't think I'd ever be able to say this out loud. And now I can.
Mhm.
Is this book specifically written for women
It
or
is. It's specifically faith-based women, but I do think it applies to everyone. I've actually had a lot of men read it, which I thought was really interesting. And they have gotten so much out of it and said, man, there's a lot of my own brokenness that I see in here as well.
I love how you, in your writing, it's very approachable, it's very compassionate, and I love you say it in the subtitle, the invitation. So there's this invitational guide. I just feel like there's encouragement, but there's a lot of choices people can make. I don't know, I just find it really thoughtful and compassionate in your approach, which of course is needed given the subject matter you're talking about. So beautifully done.
Thank you. And it's so important, particularly in faith-based spaces. There are so many let me smack you over the head with a Bible spaces. And that is not exactly what I find conducive to healing, especially deep harm like sexual assault and sexual abuse. So I really wanted people to feel safe to open the pages. Especially women in the church have had so many negative things said about their sexuality, sexual desire, all of those things that I wanted them to feel like, oh, this is something I can talk about. It is safe to say this. And for women's ministry leaders and pastors to have a tool because I don't think they always know how to talk about it either.
Well, I even when the chapter is too afraid to ask answers to questions about sexuality, I mean, just putting it out there, let's just talk about it. Let's have this conversation about something that's really difficult. I love
Yeah,
it.
When
absolutely.
I was just thinking of the folks who are not necessarily faith-based, the secular community. How would you suggest they come into this book? Because that, I wonder if they would say, like, okay, this is a book for me. And I think the information in the book, just to be clear, is phenomenal and it's not necessarily dependent upon the faith piece. The faith adds in my mind. But how do you see the secular community opening the book?
Well, I hope that they open it like normal people and just like open the book. But I think it's important to understand that there is a faith-based context to it, and I do talk about scripture in it. I want to be really upfront. That's one of the things that criticism that I have heard from people about things like divorce care when they don't realize that that is a Christian event. And so they go in hoping for care, and maybe they aren't ready for what's happening. And I am so well aware that people in the secular arena have sometimes been very hurt by the church. And I just want to be very, very clear about what's in the book because I don't want someone to pick it up and go, oh, I thought this was just going to be this one thing. And here we are talking about Jesus. And what are we going to do with that? So I am not a take two verses and call me in the morning kind of girl, first of all. I am very well aware of spiritual abuse and fight actively against it in every context I can. And so the way that I approached it in the book is from that faith-based perspective, but not with a let me bludgeon you with a Bible kind of deal. Like it's really like, hey, let's use really good neuroscience and really good embodied practices that I believe God completely condones and help you heal.